It's not how much time you have. It's how you use it.
Voice lines in League usually have one of the three following purposes: storytelling, announcing spells, or just referencing real-life events or jokes. The storytelling category is the most common one and consists of three subcategories: personality, relationships, and lore. Out of these three, personality and lore are the most frequent ones, mainly used when moving or attacking. Don't get me wrong, they are a nice way, and pretty much the main way, how to tell League's lore through the gameplay. However, I believe there is way too much reliance put on these two subcategories and not properly utilizing the last one. Take Valorant as an example. Since it's an FPS, characters do not speak during the rounds, unless using abilities, meaning the second category of voice lines is used the most in this game. The only time they speak freely is during the buying phase, sometimes leading to a conversation. In League, however, we have very limited amount of champions that would have an actual conversation, and only Morgana and Kayle would talk to each other when they are on the opposing teams. Yes, other champions often have a voice line for selected encounters, but the answer never arrives from the other side. Not even when we talk about Xayah and Rakan, Lucian and Senna, or other champions that are closely related to each other, whether through bloodline or a relationship. So, we have a problem which can be theoretically split into two. Opposing champions never answer each other, and champions on the same team have zero conversation synergy. But why exactly am I highlighting this? Well, it's simple. Because the overall quality of the characters is decreasing, which unfortunately leads to fewer interactions as well. Many times I have seen an argument that it's because people tend to complain their champion is talking non-stop, but this is not true. The problem with the non-stop talking is not the amount of voice lines, but the length of voice lines. Every single champion has their voice lines regulated the same way, meaning there is always an equal cooldown between them, which is 15 seconds. That is why it feels like sometimes your champion won't just shut up. Luckily, to regulate this a bit better, this cooldown starts the moment the voice line is finished. But I think there could be at least 5 seconds longer cooldown when a champion executes a long quote, especially when it's someone like Ashe. So technically champions never speak more, but practically if they have unnecessary long quotes, they do. I believe that if Riot stopped focusing so much on solo voice lines and decided to give champions conversations, people would enjoy them a lot more. It would be amazing if we were given more interactions with the dynamic similar to Xayah and Rakan. If that's too much, then at least give them occasional voice lines, for example when striking the first skill together, when the match starts, or when one of them dies while being near. This is sort of a thing in the game Ruined King, and when one of the members of the party dies, a quote reacting to that is played. And of course, enemies should interact with each other as well, instead of giving them awkward one-sided voice lines. Which, to be honest, I don't really understand why Riot never gives champions at least one sentence conversation from both sides. Sometimes there are even voice lines that would fit perfectly as a response, or they are literally referring to the champion's quote. I would also love to see some special death quotes, for example, when Xayah dies to Rakan, Yasuo to Yone, and vice versa. There is simply so much potential that would make the characters feel more alive. I believe it works great with Kayle and Morgana. Both tend to comment on each other regardless of their teams, mainly when they cast spells on one another or auto-attack each other. However, their interactions could be still pulled higher. What I would love to see are special death quotes when killed by the other twin. Yes, they both have quotes when they kill their sibling, but neither of them has a special voice line when killed by the other. A good example here is this quote. Why not give Kayle a replacement when Morgana is actually around? It's again one of those scenarios that make the voice lines a bit awkward. But then again, Riot is not willing to take this path, at least for now, which is truly a shame. The only other times when we can actually speak of conversation is when someone tells a joke, but let's be honest, this type of interaction provides a very minimal value, especially because the only two champions who will ever give you a positive feedback are Lux and K'Sante, with K'Sante arguably being sort of passively offensive. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend you check out these two videos as well, especially the one about the decreasing quality of the champions. Anyway, how about you? Do you think the voice lines need this kind of improvement? And if yes, how would you imagine it? Or do you simply not care? Let me know in the comments, thanks for watching, and see you later. Maybe.